Okay.
I think
Well,
Virgil immediately flagged it.
I don't say that one, but
So now that you're done saying the N word, let's get
Definitely.
started on Twitch.
I didn't say it.
Definitely not cunt. Cunt is a bad one.
All right.
Are we gonna get kicked off if I keep saying cunt like right in the beginning of this?
No,
Cunts.
because no one watches. I think cunt's fine
Okay.
on Twitch. I mean, I wouldn't.
I kind of don't like it anymore already. I'm kind of disappointed in myself.
You're already tired of it.
This show is brought to you by Wyatt Borneo.
We didn't even. Welcome to the Ghost Show.
Oh, shit.
Let's tell them what show they're watching first. What's up, guys? We're back with another episode of the Ghost Show. Today, my guest is Gabe. He hit me in my car.
Yep.
So we'll get into that in just a second. But first, let's hear about our sponsor.
Oh, great. We have a fine selection of kratom here today. It's called Wyatt Borneo. If you guys don't know anything about kratom, it's similar to like Oxycontin, except it's natural. It's like it has the same effects, but it's also stimulant, and it promotes euphoric feelings. It can be slightly dissociating, and it's all natural. It's just a fucking ground up leaf, and it feels great, and it reduces anxiety. That's why I take it.
And
It's
they're the
great
home
shit.
of the $20 kilo. Will you hand me some of that? I would love to take some because I
Isn't
don't
opium?
want to deal with my problems.
Isn't opium also a plant?
interacts with the opioid receptors.
I'm not judging. I'm just being silly.
No, I
but
get what
I
you're
believe
saying.
opium's
It's
also a plant.
it's weird to like find that threshold because like you could even say this went through some type of lab, but like the lab is so much different than a lab that produces Oxycontin or like like opium. Yeah, I guess opium is natural too if you're just smoking like poppy seeds.
Kratom.
But yeah, I don't know. I don't necessarily think that there's anything wrong with smoking opium. I'm not totally against that in any way.
I did not mean to take such a hot take. I was just giving you a hard time.
I also don't think he's like
No,
was saying
it's
that
cool
you
though.
were against opium.
no,
You took it
no,
on, like
no.
a weird trajectory. You're like, dude, I'm
No, I'm
opium.
Just,
I know it is also a plant, but I'm not against it.
I know that is weird.
I was giving you a hard time, bro.
Now I'm yeah, he said that he wasn't being offensive, and I was like, "Well, I'm not being defensive." Yeah, it got weird.
Yeah, that happens with me. Sorry. Yeah.
You light up that fucking joint, Zephyr?
I think it's almost gone.
What? You smoked the whole joint to yourself, bro? I didn't even get a hit,
Yeah, it's pretty much gone.
bruh. All right. Well, I talked to Gabe. We rolling on one. Fuck yeah. What's up, dude? How are you doing?
I'm good. How are you feeling?
I'm feeling good. I mean, my back's starting to hurt, and I might have to go to the hospital. But other than that,
If you want me to drive you there, blink twice.
so
I'll try not to hit anybody else.
So for anybody who is wondering, yesterday I got in a little bit of a fender bender, and I'm on my way to work. Honestly, you know, this is gonna sound fucked up, but I was late to work. And after I got hit, I was thinking to myself, like after like the shock of it a little bit wore off, I was like, now I don't have to lie about being late.
That's not insurance fraud, but it might be time card fraud. But no, I'm the asshole that hit him, and I feel absolutely god awful about it. But it was a little funny. I mean, funny is the wrong word, but it was.
Yeah, I would say it's pretty fucking funny.
Yeah.
Because I get hit, and we're so close to work. Like we're like there pretty much, and I'm about to merge, and then I feel this like force from behind me. I get out of the car, and I see the other guy get out of the car, and I'm like, oh, shut the fuck up. And I went from like complete dismay to like pure joy. And like I'm not lying. I was so happy to see. I think the first thing I did was give you a hug.
You did. I was the first thing I did when I hit you was like, oh fuck me, god fucking damn it, and you pulled off. The car's just screeching. And I'm like, oh fuck, I just fucked up my car, his car, whoever's car. I didn't know it was you. I was like, oh, there might have been a fucking baby in that car.
Oh
fuck. So you pulled off, and our cars kind of did the thing, and I pulled off too and threw it in park, and I got out. I was like, first thing out of my mouth was like, "Are you okay?" You opened you saw you. Like, oh fuck's sake, god damn it! Of course it's you. Like, like of all the fucking people, it's you.
The reason we know each other from work, like we met each other at work, and funny enough, I'm starting a new position on Monday. And I think one of the reasons I even got the position is because I knew you, and you are already working in the lab that I'm going to start working in.
Yeah, I put in a good word for you. So yeah, we're
even.
It's gonna be when you come in, it's gonna be a 5-person team.
Mm-hmm.
Me being number 4, you being number 5. So I mean, it's like a really small team, and again, like of all the people, there's over 300 people at that place. Or is that too big?
300 people at
Charles River.
Yeah.
Sorry, I shouldn't have said that.
That's okay. I've said it before.
Okay.
Yeah, we're good. Hey, Jamie, edit that out.
yeah, Jamie. In Austin?
I think there's more than 300, right?
There could be. I don't know.
I would say there's at least, I think we're at like 700-800 people.
Okay, that was way more than I thought. I run out of fingers at about 10, so.
I know that they're starting to hit capacity.
Yeah, well, the parking lot's a mess. But
there's no parking. It's fucking ridiculous.
Yeah. I was speaking of parking when I pulled in here,
mm-hmm.
and I was driving and looking, and I was on the phone with you, and I looked over and I saw your car, and I knew it was your car because I remember what I did to it, and I was like, oh shit, well,
let's touch up the other side.
Well, I gotta back up so I can park, in that little spot right there.
Yeah.
I was like, don't fucking hit this car backing up. Don't.
Just like super cautious. Now you're like, fuck.
I've been really nervous about hitting people. I've not been in an accident. Well, that's not true. I've not caused an accident before,
mm-hmm.
and like never hit anybody or anything. And so now I'm like, God damn it. So
yeah, I mean, it's probably a healthy fear to have,
Yeah, I think it's too complacent, to be honest. I mean, that's why I hate you in the first place, is I thought you went, and I used that as my judgment to make that,
mm-hmm.
that call instead of doing my diligence and like make sure you had actually gone.
Every time I've ever done that, because I've done similar things while driving, so sometimes on the freeway, for whatever reason, I did this when I was younger. I don't do this anymore because of all the close calls I've had. But, I get this idea in my head that, fuck you, I don't need my blinker. Sometimes. It's like this cocky, like egotistical, I'll just fucking go over. Fuck it. I'm sure it's fine. And then as I go over, I thankfully, I always chicken out and I look before I go over, so just fucking sliding over. But every single time I've done that, there has been a person next to me.
Jeez.
In my blind spot. Every single time. And I'm like, damn. How lucky am I to like have not so I'm so cautious all the time. But driving's fucking hard. I'm surprised that we even do it. Honestly, like it's kind of fucking crazy. Yeah.
That's why I smoke so much weed. I just like I'm hyper aware of what I'm doing when I drive.
That almost, if I smoke too much weed without the assistance of our sponsor Kratom, and I drive, I'm like oh fuck, like I'm too aware. We're to the point like it's like awareness paralysis. Like I can't move. I'm too scared.
I shouldn't admit this, but I've driven drunk a few times.
Same.
I don't drink anymore, but every time I've done it, I'm doing that thing where it's like, act normal. So it's cruise control, but not right on the speed limit, like 2 over, so that you get the impression you don't really care that much, but it's not 5 over. So stupid shit like that. But no, I always use my blinker from like I did a lot of driving for Tesla when I did
Mhm.
security there. Like that was what I did. I was the guy that drove the security. One of the guys, not the guy, but one of the guys that drove the security trucks around. So I'd be driving 12-hour shifts, 14-hour shifts, like 6 days a week. Never hit anybody. I think 7,000 people coming and going any time there. Never hit anything, and then.
And the
Yeah.
one person you hit was me.
I know the one person.
That's so that like the one thing I remember from that accident that like really stood out to me was as I was going through like my information in my glove box, I found a picture of Jesus. Like one of those like from like a candle, like like one of those like Saint Marie candles or whatever the fuck.
The Catholic.
Yeah, the Catholic candles.
Yeah.
It was like a perfect fucking picture of the Christ himself. And I
love how you said the Christ himself.
Oh, my hair's not that long.
As though you are Christian. Saw my Lord and Savior himself. Do you not smoke?
I don't.
Yeah, if you don't smoke weed, definitely don't. I used to hate smoking weed because I get so fucking paranoid, and I think through just brute force, I've been able to like
Practice.
Yeah. Like even I tried practicing before, but like now I just fucking I'm like I realize I'd realized that there is a difference between sativa and indica. And indica really fucks with me because I get lethargic and then I get tired and I get stuck in myself.
Heard that.
Oh, that's weird.
It's the strains, right? They're different strains of the.
I have the opposite problem.
Mary Jane.
Well, that's sativa.
I smoke like too much, like really strong sativa, and I get like
Jittery.
muscle twitches, like like convulsions in my like legs. And
You just need to stretch, dude.
Yoga.
yeah, maybe.
Talking to the mic.
I also just need to just keep smoking weed constantly so that it doesn't affect me as much.
Yeah, if like
So
you
I
have a
just
hard
have
time
to smoke
smoking
it
weed, just
all the
smoke
time,
weed
right?
all the time.
The first time I smoked weed, I've only smoked 3 times and got high once, but the first time I was crossfaded, and that was the time I got high.
Crossfaded.
I didn't throw up. I had a
Worst.
fucking blast, but I was fucked up. The apartment I was at, a bunch of fucking friends from high school at the time. This is pretty soon after I graduated. And a lot of us were in the army together too. Just a whole bunch of shit. But anyway, so we were all fucked up, and they had this massive wooden table in their dining room area. People were drawing on it and stuff, and I was hanging on the edge of that thing trying to fucking fall out of the goddamn chair for like hours. And while everybody's talking, I remember getting into my head, it'd be fucking hilarious, because somebody had written an A in the table, like carved it in. I thought it'd be hilarious to make that say vag.
Yeah.
And so it felt like 3 hours high. I have no idea how long that was. And I was very happy with myself. I managed to get vag in there. And then woke up the
How
next
old
day.
were you?
I
It was
was
like high
19.
school?
No, I was like 19, 20. But woke up the next day and looked at it. I was like, that was fucking funny. I had spelled bag.
Spelled bag.
Bag, B-A-G.
Wow.
That's fucking.
Just had that small of an attention span. that
Dude, it was rough, man. That was fun, but I also was like, I don't want to do it again. That was okay, but I like stimulants and getting shit done. So, and I can't afford that. So
Yeah.
stay away from it.
Yeah, no, I know what you mean. Anytime I smoke weed, at least I used to. Thanks to White Borneo Kratom, I can now get things done and be high. And that's cool.
Yeah.
But your story reminds me of a similar story that I had when I was in college. I was pledging for a fraternity, and we went to the people who had graduated, the elders, or I don't even know what they called them at the time, seniors, something like that. They weren't seniors, but alum, the alum house.
Oh yeah.
And this is back when, like, if I even smoked any weed, I would just, like, like freak out. Like I would like shake and I'd like hyperventilate and I would like I'm not worthy.
I'm not worthy.
I'm fucking the universe is crazy. And then the thing about being in a fraternity, and especially being like a pledge, is you don't want to be lame and you don't want to piss off the alum people, right? Because they're like, the higher you are, like the older you are, the more power you have in the fraternity, supposedly. At least that's what you think as a pledge. But
I don't know. I never did that. We called the Army the biggest fraternity or gang in the world, but
true.
I should clarify too before I go too far down that. I was only very briefly in the Army. I talk about it a lot. It's like 8 months of my life, but it was the first 8 months of my adult life. Yes. And it's helped me make a lot of friends and go a lot of places I went. And then it kind of sums up a lot of my knowledge, which I didn't actually get in the Army, but it opened doors for me to learn things like security and et cetera, which we can go into. But so I talk about it. It meant a lot to me, but I actually I'm not a vet. I'm not some cool, super awesome guy. I was very briefly an infantry trainee. I never even got that far. I never finished. So,
but you know exactly what it's like, though. You don't want to piss off the people who are superior because then, like, all hell rains down, right?
Yeah,
like you kind of do. Like, there's games
I get off on that though.
Yeah.
So I actually do you mind if I tell a quick funny story?
Yeah. Go ahead.
Okay. You've seen like drill sergeant stuff. You kind of familiar with the thing. So actually, when I got to basic, my drill sergeants would recite the lines from Full Metal Jacket. Like they weren't even trying anymore. They would just say it verbatim, and I had seen it, so I tried so hard not to laugh. But this must have been weeks into it at some point, and we, shaved all our heads. I wanted long hair at the time, and I was like, "Fuck, I want long hair. I'm gonna get long hair." And so we were all we were all working out after hours. We have like 1 hour between into training and before you have to go lights out. And so we were just like doing sit-ups, and nobody was fucking in there. No drill sergeant or anybody was in there. So I said, "Fuck yeah!" I took my PT shirt, pulled it over my head to just the head hole was stretched across the top of my head, and let the rest hang back like I had super long hair.
Yeah,
just to be a fucking idiot. I'm doing sit-ups, this fucking thing's flopping back and forth, and the drill sergeant walks in as I'm doing one of these sit-ups, and we make eye contact. I'm not shitting you. And he stares at me, and I'm slowly coming up, touch my arms to my knees, and we just lock eyes, and he just looks at me like, "You gotta be fucking joking, Rita." He didn't bother yelling. He's like, "I'm not dealing with this shit right now." So I just took the thing off and like went back down. I'm a fucking idiot, man. I really am. But.
That's so funny. Yeah, dude. Yeah. But yeah, I mean that's a little bit different. Like it's funny to fuck with them a little bit, but like there's like a fine line between like, I think it's just with anybody. I think it's just natural anxiety for me at that time when I was at the alum house. Is just I wanted to fit in, and I didn't want to get kicked out because it was like the only chance of partying when I was at college. Because like where I went, there was no chance of partying if you weren't in a frat.
Where did you go?
UC San Diego.
Oh, okay, all right.
Yeah, fucking nerdy, fucking UC socially dead. Yeah. There's another story like that that I'll tell you too. But I've said it like I think every podcast I've said that story. But the one thing, so I was at the alum house, right? And we had to pass these books around and get signatures. That's like the biggest thing you can do as a pledge is you have to make your signatures every week, or you can get like fucking kicked out. You can get everyone in trouble. All this shit.
So like
you have to go and you have to go to talk to people who are already in the fraternity. They sign your book. If they like you, they'll give you the signature, and you have to like ask them these questions like, "What's your name? When did you start?" You have to get these answers from. You have to get very specific information, and you have to fill out your pledge book. And if you don't get enough signatures by the week, the whole pledge group is fucked. Like it's a big deal, and it's just a way to get to know the guys in the fraternity, so you don't just like join the fraternity and you don't know anybody. But they take it very seriously, and so we're at the alum house, which is already a big deal, and then they start passing around a bong, and I'm like, I'll just take a small. I also had to write like a fucking like 8-page paper that day, and it was due the next day.
Oh,
and I did not start yet. I was a very big procrastinator. So I was like, okay, just a small hit, and I'll be fine. I just, join them, be like, I'm done, guys. That's good. And so they pass around the bong, and I try to take the smallest hit I can, but they put some, like, nicotine in the bong, and I can't even fucking explain to you how high I got, like, immediately, and I would, like, immediately had, like, a panic attack. I was like, are you fucking kidding me? I'm so high right now. As soon as I put the bong down, I was like, no,
You said they put like tobacco in there?
Yeah, on the top. It was called, like, a moke bowl or some shit. Dude, that
I've heard of
fucking
that.
fucked me up, dude. It, like, sent me straight into space, bro. I was like, what the fuck?
Those are super dangerous.
Bro. And once they passed around, everyone's getting high, and then I take the one hit, and I'm like, they keep passing around. I'm like, I'm good. And I'm just like slumped on the couch, and everyone's like, bro, Ari, are you good? I'm like, good.
Wait, is that how you say your name?
No, Araya.
Oh,
like,
okay,
in
okay.
college, they called me Ari because I had to meet so many people. I was like,
Okay.
I didn't want to say my full name because it takes forever. for
Okay.
people to
I get
figure
that. I
it
was just worried I've been saying your name
No, no,
wrong
no.
the whole time, on top of having just fucking smashed the shit out of your car.
out.
Like,
Also, don't say my name correctly.
yeah, just double trouble over here. Fucking. Okay. Sorry, I didn't.
No, you're good. But it was such a weird experience, though. In a way, in reflection, it was really beautiful because what ended up happening is I looked around and I'm looking at all these people, and we're on this couch, and I time traveled in a way, and I felt like we were all kindergartners sitting on this couch. Like, it felt like we were in kindergarten, and I had known them for a very long time. Like, everyone on the couch was like like, like when you're in kindergarten, you have like friends in kindergarten, you feel like you know everybody pretty well.
I didn't go to kindergarten.
Oh,
So
this is very unrelatable.
No, I don't. But go on.
But it felt like old friends, like really old friends. And I was looking around, I was like, if they felt so familiar, but not like in a way where I felt comfortable talking to them because it was freaking me out. Because I was like, this is not real. This can't be real. I don't fucking know these guys. Like, half of them I just met today because they're alum, right? And so I'm trying not to freak out, but I'm like, man, that's so fucking. I was like, time traveling is super, super weird.
Yeah.
And
From the Moke
Yeah.
hit? Really?
yeah, dude. And so I'm just slumped in the couch, and then they're like, one of the alum walks by, and he's like, okay, guys, time to we're going to give you all signatures. Y'all are pretty sick. And so, like, to get an alum signature is, like, a big fucking deal. And so all I had to do to get, like, 6 signatures that day from alums was pass my red book to somebody and to sign it. I didn't have to ask. I didn't have to interview. They were just going to sign the book. And I couldn't do that because I was too high. I was too scared because, like, here's the other thing. If you lose your book, it's, like, the end of the world. Like, if your book's gone, you're super fucked. Because you have to get all those signatures by the next, you have to get as many signatures as you're supposed to have by the next fucking thing. So you have to get everyone's signature again, and that doesn't work that way. So I was paranoid about that. I was like, if I hand my book over, this is a trap. And I'm too high, I will lose it. And so I'm like holding my book out on my lap because I was getting prepared for this moment before I was high because I was thinking this is going to happen. And then it's still on my lap, and they're like, do you want to pass your book? I'm like, no. Like, what? Dude, give your book. It's okay. We're gonna sign it. I was like, it's fine, guys. They were like, are you fucking stupid? Like, everyone, also all my pledge brothers that were there, like, get the signatures, you fucking dickhead. And I was like, I already have signatures. It's fine. I don't want to lose a book, guys. Yeah.
You get weird when you get high. I mean, not you, just people.
Oh, yeah. I was super weird back then.
You change. Like, you get drunk. I'm like a different person.
Yeah.
I'm not like a violent drunk. I'm a horny drunk. So I will sleep with anything that looks remotely female. I didn't say female. I just said looks remotely female. So one of the reasons I'm like, I probably shouldn't drink anymore.
But sleep. You're just like waking up next to like fucking like a peach in your bed, and you're like, oh no.
I don't know if that looks remotely female, but
just fuck a fruit.
Maybe from the right angle, but it's like, ooh. No, I'm exaggerating to some extent, but yeah, I say shit I shouldn't say when I'm drunk, and then I wake up, I'm like, did I really fucking do that?
Who doesn't, bro?
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
that's fair. I just I don't know. I feel like I made an ass out of myself one too many times. So
Yeah, I feel that. So I want.
CPR.
Speaking of drunks and people making an ass out of themselves.
Oh, good transition.
Yeah, thank you. I've been working on my segues.
There you go.
Hopefully, I don't drive it off the cliff like the owner of the Segway.
That was like, funny
The
enough.
inventor.
A lot of security works on Segways.
That's kind of goofy.
Yeah.
Okay.
Sorry, I I
No.
ruined your segue.
No. But let's pause for a minute. Let's think about that. I feel like it's hard to try to be serious and be like, I'm in control, guys. When you're like, like leaning back and forth.
I refuse to work with certain companies because they use those things. I was at the Meadowwood Mall.
Yeah, no respect for them.
Yeah, well, I saw one of those girls like late at night actually hit a fucking rock and eat shit like right in front of me, and she was one of those.
Segway?
Yeah. So
What about if they're like the one wheel things? Like a company that just.
Oh, those things?
So the cop is like the security guard's like surfing towards you.
Yeah.
I'd be kind of intimidated, to be honest.
I wouldn't. I would just like, what are you gonna do? You're gonna jump off of that real quick and like catch me? I don't
Bro,
know.
I would.
I don't know.
But-
man.
Yeah, I'd do it once before I realized it wasn't a good idea. But I would do it once, and that guy get fucked up, you know. But security is a weird field where there's a large spectrum of what is considered security. The guys that do anti-piracy stuff near Somalia, they're considered security, and the people who do the mall cop stuff are also considered security. And there's this huge spectrum in between that.
Two different jobs for sure.
Yeah, right. And they're hiring like Navy SEALs for the Somalia shit, and then they're hiring people who maybe have a pulse for the mall cop shit. And this girl, I don't want to rag on her too hard because I'm sure she was a sweet person and everything, but she had that look of not competent, right? And then to see her hit that fucking rock and eat shit in the little helmet
Was
thing,
she
and
fat?
yeah. Just what I think you know the kind of look I'm talking about. And
I think you at least have to be mildly obese to be a mall cop. I think that's like the first requirement.
I believe so. It's, you know, I've worked with some good guys who've done stuff like that, and they were hardcore too. Some of them, and some of them never even military or cops, but they were like I could count on them. But you know, the majority of them, you're like, good lord, are you even fucking alive? We need to scan for brainwaves. Do we? Like fucking Christ. So. Yeah, she was. I don't want to say she was that bad, but it gave the impression, you know, the polo is not all the way tucked in, and it's just. I was so hard not to laugh in her face too. We were working for the same company, just different posts, too, and so I was just there hanging out, like not hanging out. I had something to go do, but I think I was gonna eat at the Cheesecake Factory. Well, it was a long time ago. I remember that, just like, don't laugh in her fucking face, and don't go yell at her for being incompetent either. You're not her boss. So, yeah, but
So. How long have you been doing security work? What made you get into it?
Well, I mentioned briefly I did the Army, but I wasn't a vet, and I didn't accomplish anything. I did some training for things, so I knew a little bit. I learned the basic rifle marksmanship. I learned some basic unit tactics, things like that. I sucked ass at land nav, which is reading a map. Dude, I don't know why it's so. I have a hard time wrapping my head around that. But anyway, segue. So got out of that. That was all I'd ever wanted to do my whole life. And I'm 18 and my whole life plan has already fallen apart. Like already accomplished, like got in and fucked it up. But it hadn't even been a year. I'm like, oh, like what the fuck? So
that must have been really hard, right? Like,
it was awful. It was awful. It's still awful. Sometimes I still think about it like, Jesus, like that's all I ever wanted to do. And everything since then has been kind of like just figure out something else.
So what happened with that? What happened?
What got me kicked out?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So
if you're okay with talking about that.
No, yeah. I didn't fuck up. It wasn't like I was a piece of shit. I will say that. It wasn't like I refused to train or I would just quit. I didn't do that. I did fuck up on the day, but I think we were doing the obstacle course, and we were told to pack our Kevlars, which is our helmet. Mm-hmm. And I swear to God, I thought I packed that fucking thing. Mm-hmm. I didn't. So
you think they fuck with you and like they take
I was in trouble.
Helmet out of the
no, not for that. I mean, they would have gotten onto me for that, but I literally could not do that day's training because I did not bring my shit, and so I was in trouble for that. Mm-hmm. But that wasn't where that was just the start of my day was fucking shit. So I got a lot
yeah.
of shit and everything. I didn't get to do the obstacle course stuff, which sucked ass. Later on, though, somebody in another training platoon, but same company.
Mm-hmm.
There's levels of organization, but so same company, so we have the same commanding officer. Another platoon, we had gotten MREs. They stole like some of the candy or something from one of the MREs, hid it, was about to get caught with it in their barracks, and so they tried to flush it down a toilet, ended up destroying the fucking toilet, fucking up the plumbing in this barracks. Like, I didn't see it, but this is what I heard, you know, it was like just water everywhere flooding. So the CO and the first sergeant, they're smoking the shit out of us, and smoking is a lot of PT, like push-ups and squats and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
We were in bad trouble
Yeah.
for that, and I was feeling like a fucking jackass because I'd fucked up already that day,
Mm-hmm.
and now we're in trouble. So we were just getting the absolute dog shit smoked out of us, but we were having to run everywhere. We're running back, I think, from the chow hall from dinner, and I just took a bad step, fucking rolled my ankle really goddamn bad. I got run over by a few people. I got up, and you know, I tried to, but I was in fucking pain, and I did the rest of the day, but we got back to the barracks at the end, and I looked at my ankle, and it's hard to describe. So there's a camera, though. My ankle's about this big. It was like swollen up that
Jesus.
big, and I had a bundle of muscle up here and a bundle of muscle halfway down my foot. I had torn the muscle in here on my ankle. I rolled it so bad, and it
Should've
was
worn that helmet.
it was like yeah well, like me being in trouble had nothing to do with the helmet at that point. Like that wasn't why they were running us like that. But I just set that up because my day sucked ass and I was
Yeah.
pissed. But
You're having a bad day. Now you
I was-
fucking roll your ankle.
yeah, I fucking roll
it's
my
not
ankle
like-
and
You didn't like a catastrophic rolling of your
it,
ankle.
it was
That sounds
fucked up. Like
fucking
it
crazy.
it was like dark purple, like almost black. It was so purple, like my
That's-
whole foot.
That shit kind of blows my mind because, I mean, I must be blessed with like godly ankles because when I was skateboarding, I would roll my ankle like 3 times a day, just like landing. I still like my ankles are so fucked. The other day I was like doing jujitsu, and I went to step and my foot just went. Like it just has like sometimes the nerves just give out and just go.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm always fine. I'm always fine. Like I usually like there's only one time I rolled my ankles when I was skating where I couldn't skate that day. Like for like half the day, and then I finally was able to skate.
Yeah,
But they were still bruised.
I've rolled my ankles a lot and never had anything like that happen. But I do think some of it had to do with the Army standard issue boots.
The most unlucky fucking
Sometimes I'm like the most lucky person. You know, that'll probably make sense later. But
Yeah.
sometimes my luck runs out, and like I fucking rear end somebody I know at a
run straight in
stoplight.
my car.
Yeah, just fucking demolish equipment, friendships. But the standard issue Army boots, the sole's like, or at least at the time, I don't know how it is now. This was almost 10 years ago, but it's like that thick.
Yeah, they make
And-
people tall.
And there was no ankle support.
Mm-hmm.
And so when we're running in that, you
It's like
just
high heels.
kinda, yeah.
Yeah.
And so I think that had a lot to do with it. But that wasn't even what got me kicked out. I just we had 4 hours of sleep that night, and they woke us up, and I was on a top bunk. I rolled out of the bunk, tried to land on my feet, but it like fell. Like I could not land on my feet. Like I was still all fucked up. I'm like, I gotta go to the doctor. Like I can't walk. So I would go to the doctor, and that's like I didn't know this. Nobody told me, but that's apparently like a big no-no. You go to the drill sergeant first. Nobody told me. I didn't know. So, but I learned after the fact. Anyway, so I go. They call it sit call. You sit there, and I sneeze, and they make you wear a mask. And this is like 2013, so this wasn't like Corona
COVID,
or
it was
anything. It was just
Strict.
stuff. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I finally get back to the doctor, and the doctor looks at my ankle, and then he starts checking out my face, like, and then he says to me, he says, "Is there anything else you want to fucking complain about?" And I'm pissed. Like, I've got 4 hours of sleep. I just had the shittiest fucking day yesterday. My ankle's like I said, this fucking big, and he's acting like I'm in there complaining about a cold too.
Yeah.
You know, and I wasn't. I just sneezed, and somebody else made me wear the goddamn mask. So I said, yeah, sometimes my wrist hurts, you know, doing push-ups. And it does. It does. And he's like, well, did you ever used to skate? I go, yeah, I used to compete. And he's like, okay, he does an x-ray. My fucking scaphoid is broken, fractured in 2. So he showed me the x-ray, and he's like, you see what's wrong there? I go, no. And he goes, see those 2 bones? Uh-huh. That's supposed to be 1 bone. Oh.
That's crazy.
Oh, so, and he's like, yeah, we're going to charge you with fraudulent enlistment, which is a felony. I said, what do you mean? He's like, you didn't declare this on your medical paperwork for entry. I said, I didn't know it was broken. He goes, how the fuck do you not know it's broken? And I almost fucking slapped this guy, but instead I just took my hand, like, because it does this. Like, he said, that doesn't mean it's not broken. I was like, I'm not a doctor. You are. Like, dude, like they're always calling us privates and idiots and stuff. And I was like, I'm a private. I don't fucking know that. Like that.
I'm a fucking idiot, bro.
To me, if this moves, it's not broken. Like, and that's actually genuinely what I thought. At the time, I didn't think that you could physically move something that was broken. That was just
I would say the same thing. I would say like you could probably move it, but it wouldn't be like deliberate.
No,
it would just be fucking like.
How do they know you didn't just break it when you were there?
I guess something to do with some of the doctor can see there's been some healing. It had been broken for like 4 years apparently at that point.
Yeah.
And it's still broken now actually.
Huh. You haven't.
But no. So it's a $25,000 surgery to fix it, and the neither half has died.
Dude, if you ever like, his wrist feels so fucking gross.
Yeah,
bro.
yeah. Grab it. Just grab my wrist. It's okay. You
Like
feel
how I
that?
asked, like, have you ever held
Yeah.
it? Like, if you never met.
Yeah. Yeah. You want to hold my wrist?
Mine's
Yeah.
like not nearly that bad.
That
but
makes
I
me
have
wonder
that
if I've
too.
ever broke shit, bro. Because
You might have. It's apparently it's a really common thing, and most people don't know they have it.
I guarantee I broke my nose like 6 times.
Probably.
Like if you take like an X-ray of my fucking nose, the number of like times someone's put their knee through my fucking skull in like jujitsu by accident
Yeah.
is so many times. And like one of the most recent times, we were rolling and he was I think I was in half guard and he was trying to pass, and I like tried to dive under as he went forward, so his knee went straight into my face, and we kept going, but I was like almost concussed a little bit. Like he hit me so and he was a big dude. He's like a Muay Thai. He used to teach Muay Thai, so his legs are fucking thick, and he's like he's probably bigger than you. He's like 6'2". Or I guess bigger than you. You're tall too. I forget.
6 foot.
6 foot.
I'm 5'11" and 3/4.
Yeah, I'm
Actually. Yeah, me too, guys.
Size matters.
I'm actually 7'1".
I believe
in
it.
that. Yeah, so fucking. That was the first time I've ever felt my nose like crunch.
Mm.
Like he like hit, and it was just like I don't even know how to explain it, but it was like immediately I just smelled blood, and like I was seeing stars, and I was like still rolling because I was like, I just got hit in the face, it's fine. Like anytime someone hits my nose, it kind of hurts like that, so I was like, oh, whatever. So I keep going, and then like I finish out the round, and I'm like, I need to go to the restroom to make sure I'm not fucking bleeding everywhere. And I wasn't bleeding, but as soon as I blew my nose, it was just chunks
Oh shit.
of like black blood, just like. It was so fucking thick and chunky, and I was like, "That's bad."
That's-
Like, I don't know
that's-
what's going on.
that's
But
not
that's
good. It's not good.
But then, I mean, what do you do?
There's
If I
nothing
could
you
get a
can
nose
do.
brace, so I was like, just went out and rolled some more.
Yeah. Oh, it's
Just protected my face.
Suck
Like
it
my
up.
whole face, like my eyes were bruised. Like the next day, like everything was like swollen. You might have even seen me at work like that because it happened when
I've never seen you at work like that, but
Okay, yeah, it was brutal. It was fucking like. Is way worse than when you hit me. That's
I
what
was
I'm saying,
I
like,
was
I'm not
about to
injured.
say, so it's not that bad by
No,
comparison
no.
to what you do for fun. Okay, all right. So,
No, what I do for fun
All right.
injures me like on a
yeah,
different
so
fucking level.
me hitting you with a car is kind of like a bitch move, and it wasn't even a good one.
Yeah, it didn't affect me at all.
yeah,
Really, yeah,
that's
we're
like that-
good.
Fuck, I was cheating in a fight and I still didn't win. That's embarrassing.
But yeah, so I was like, I wonder how much other shit is broken on my body because like I've fucked up both my thumbs, like jamming them into people as they come into me, like their hip or the ground when I'm trying to fall.
This thumb.
And I just wonder, like you said, I didn't know that. So if I thought like if I can't, I thought like shit's broken when it's crooked, and it
Yeah.
doesn't fucking move anymore.
Apparently not.
Apparently, you can just I guess I've known of like fractures
Mm-hmm.
where you can have like splints in the bone. I've broken my legs like hundreds of times in that case because I have lumps all over my legs from
Yeah.
skating.
I have some of my ribs.
I think I've broken a couple ribs
Have
too
you?
from,
Yeah.
from jiu-jitsu. And what do you do? It's every injury I've had is like, what do you do?
Just fucking be a man.
Exactly. Like what am I gonna wear? A sprain? Like I haven't broken anything to the point where I've needed a cast, so it's like I guess I just gonna fucking live with it. I would actually be very interested to see if there's any breaks or not.
I'm sure you do.
I think someone broke my head once.
It wasn't me.
No, not you. No, like I actually think someone broke my
Like
skull.
your skull?
Yeah.
Jesus.
There was this dude. He was huge. He was a white belt, and I was like really stubborn. He had me in like a bad spot. Like, well, not really.
Is white beginning or?
Yes.
Okay.
Why it's the beginning level. I think I had just gotten my blue belt, so I was like, I'm not gonna lose to a white belt, which is a dumb mentality to have. But I think every jiu-jitsu person goes through that. I think anybody is like, I'm not gonna lose to someone who's supposed to be worse than me.
Dude, anybody who fights, like even as like a professional's not the right word, but guy who fights
Yeah.
not for fun all the time.
for business.
Yeah, for business, for valor. No, it's for money. But it's you can fall into that trap. Like I'm fucking invincible, or I ain't get, like these guys ain't shit, and then you get humbled quick,
Yeah, well,
and then you get arrogant again real quick. But
this dude, like, so a triangle typically in jiu-jitsu is when you have your legs creating a circle, pretty much, an enclosed space around a head and an arm.
so you do get under the armpit when you do that?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Well,
So-
it depends. So it depends on. So you have the choking leg, which is the inside of the knee goes around the neck,
Mm-hmm.
and then you have the leg that you hook on. So this would be the choking leg,
Okay.
and this is the leg that comes down. And now there's other technicalities in triangles where you can have reverse triangles and other stuff where the choking leg is not actually around their neck. It's kind of complicated, but what this dude did is he just was holding my head with both of his legs. You can technically triangle someone that way. It's called a no arm triangle.
Okay.
Very unlikely to have happened. But he didn't even have his legs in it's called a figure four, which is like the triangle shape that you see when people wrap their
Okay.
leg.
Because
His legs were just like squeezing like this, and they were like maybe crossed, and then he's squeezing his thighs into my head. And I was trying to get out because it's like you can't tap to, that's not even a submission. That's like you would never even consider that to be like something that would submit somebody.
is that a rule thing, or is it just not effective?
No, you can tap. It's not even. It's just not effective. Like if he was my size, it wouldn't have done anything. It would have slipped out of there. However, he was so big that his thighs, when he squeezed them, I felt my head like it was like a lot of pressure. I didn't even know this could happen, honestly. So that's why I was like fighting it, and so I was like pushing out. I was like, I'm just gonna have to push out, and he kept squeezing and squeezing, and I heard my head go.
Jesus
And I
Christ.
felt it go. And I was like, and then like it was like I don't know if it was endorphins or whatever, but you know, you have like a state change. You're like, oh, what the fuck? I felt like I had just like, because I've hit my head a lot. I've hit my head on the ground from slams and shit. It felt like someone just hit my head, and I was like, what? And so I think it was the adrenaline. I pushed him off really hard when that happened, and I got out, and I finished the round or whatever. But afterwards, I had to sit out, and I was like, I don't even know what happened to me. Like, how do I explain this to anybody? Like, my head just cracked.
I got no fucking clue.
And so I'm like, because I've seen people, like, I've seen girls take giant watermelons.
Yeah, I was thinking of that.
And pop the watermelon, right? And apparently, watermelons are supposed to be like the same fucking consistency and density of like a human head.
I'm not disagreeing. I'm just surprised. I'll say that because I sometimes eat the rind on a watermelon. I don't think I could do
Yeah,
that.
I don't know if you could eat bone.
I don't.
So
Yeah.
question that. But you know, they say that like if you break a watermelon, it's pretty close to like breaking a head. Like if
like
they
the
use
pressure required.
Yeah, so if you like,
Okay.
they'll put like helmets on watermelons and they'll drop them off bikes to see how well the watermelons last.
That makes a lot more sense because a watermelon that might be more delicate than a head. So if it protects the watermelon,
Then it should protect your head.
your melon's fine. But
Oh, that makes sense.
but
But that's all I was thinking about. It's
Yeah.
like, oh fuck, this guy could definitely pop a watermelon. I bet you almost pop my fucking brain out of my fucking
Goddamn.
skull.
shit, that
And-
is terrifying.
It's still like is scary when I think about it because I'm like that was insane. Like I've never.
You gotten your head looked at?
I had an MRI.
Did you?
but it wasn't for that. It was because
just
they
to
thought I
see
had
if there's
brain
like
tumor.
Oh shit.
Not like, well,
crack
I had
down the
like,
middle or something.
what?
Just to see if there's like a crack down the middle.
I know, I should ask them. I was like, did you fucking,
Or
by the way,
where
did you look at
There's
the
supposed
skull
to be
at all?
one right here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's two.
Yeah, that's like the lines. But yeah, the plates of your skull fuse
Mhm.
at certain points. You do actually have I'm not anywhere near the mic. You do have built-in cracks in your head, but
Yeah, and some people even
Like,
shape their
cracks,
kids.
air quotes.
Like if when they're a baby, it's called soft skull, and that's why you can't like it's actually not that bad to drop your kid on your head when they're very little because it literally absorbs it because they have soft bones.
that's how Ma raised me.
But like some kids will like ruin the shape of their head because of that. Like some parents will take that and they'll put their kid's head in a vice to get a proper shape so it doesn't grow fucking weird.
Yeah.
Well, yeah,
I think that's what a doctor would probably do. If you took him to a doctor, they would be like, yeah, you kind of fucked your kid's head up, but we can just kind of like squeeze it the right way.
You could literally make like a cone head.
Yeah, there's a native tribes, both North and South America, used to bind their children's heads to actually get them to grow like a cone.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah. I don't think I ever finished telling you about security or the army.
Yeah, let's get back to
Sorry.
that. Sorry. I got sidetracked. by
Digression. Yeah.
breaking shit.
No, I just don't want to confuse people.
So, where we leave off, you
I'll
got
just-
kicked. You got what's the technical term?
I was medically separated from the army without veteran status. It was I think technically it's a general discharge with uncharacterized service, which is not bad. It's not good. It's just like whatever.
Yeah.
And it was because I didn't have the paperwork for my wrist. It's not even that my wrist was a disqualifying thing. I didn't have the right piece of paper for it, and they weren't willing to just do it with me there. I even asked, like, he said, yeah, you don't have the right paperwork. I said, can we do it here?
Seems like intentional, like they wanted to kick you out.
We were drawing down out of Iraq at the time, and Obama was shrinking the army some. And
Fucking
so,
Obama.
well, I'm not blaming
I'm
Obama.
joking.
It was just the environment that we were in. They were kicking other guys out for like back acne and shit.
What?
Yeah,
What?
so me with a fucked up
Yes,
wrist and no
that's-
paperwork is like
How do you kick people out for back acne? That's a thing?
it was the time. They just make shit up, man. Sometimes
Yeah.
it's
Ah,
like
okay.
we recruited too many people. Now we don't need this many people. Because we got. I don't know why. You know, I was gonna make up a reason, but
come up with something better.
no, it's they can
They're
say
gross.
you got
Get them out of here.
you got anal warts and that's that. And like it's which I mean I'm sure is not pleasant, but
You
I
know
have,
we all fuck each other. You can't give us each other anal warts, dickhead.
that's the Navy and
Sorry.
yeah, it's okay. We used to sing that song in the Navy, but anyway, so I got discharged. I went to a different unit full of like 200 other guys were getting kicked out for dumb, random, various shit. That was fucking god awful. And got back home here in Reno on October 1st, 2013, which was one of the first government shutdowns in modern history. Anyway, I don't know about
Oh yeah,
older
that's
history,
when they
but
were just like,
that was the first one. They couldn't agree on a budget, and so
yeah.
I was lucky to actually come home that day. They're like, we already bought your tickets, and some people volunteered to drive you fuckheads to the airport, so you get to go home. So I was lucky, but
Isn't that like a yearly thing now?
it's pretty common now. But back then, it was like a huge deal because nobody was sure that they were gonna. We weren't sure we were gonna get to eat if we didn't get sent home because
Whoa.
we weren't sure that the
They were
cooks.
gonna get a budget, yeah.
Well, we weren't sure that the cooks were gonna show up because the cooks aren't military. Well, the cooks that we used weren't military; they were civilian workers. So it was a huge deal. But anyway, so I come home, I try to find work. That was fucking hard here in 2013. There were like no jobs. Like I applied like to 60 places like Subway, McDonald's. I never even got like a rejection letter. I just never heard back. So I ended up getting a job making holsters for handguns. Somebody I knew, she knew somebody whose husband had that business, and I went to work for him. He was kind of a fucking asshole, but
Damn.
I won't go into that because it's like ancient history now. But I worked there for 2 years, got fired after kind of losing it with that guy, and I started going back to school finally. And
What'd you study there?
I was originally going to go get my EMT certification, but you had to have health insurance to take the class, and I couldn't afford health insurance. So I actually haven't had health insurance since I was 14. except for like those few months I was in the Army. I had health insurance there. But so anyway, I went to take other classes that were just kind of around it or nursing prerequisites. And I was trying to work on getting insurance or something during that time. And I ended up working at the financial aid office up here at the at TMCC for a while. And then while I was doing that, I started taking a martial art, Sistema. If you actually familiar with it?
I've never done it, but I've seen a guy go in to like, it's like this guy who tests martial arts to see if they're legit. And he was like, it's surprisingly legit. Because when you look at it, it looks like people are just like rolling on top of each other and vibrating. And it really does.
There's some hokey looking shit in there, and some of that I think is.
But it's pretty much like jiu-jitsu. It's kind of like flowing and moving out of positions using like a ragdoll physics.
It is really, it is a lot like that, and there is a lot of surprising amount of stuff that works. Like I think every time, and I take breaks from it, and during a break, sometimes I'll think about going back like, no, it's just a bunch of bullshit. And then every time I go back, no, it's not bullshit. I don't know how this works and how it's real, but it is. But there's no forms or kata. You get to have your own personal style. So I knew like a thing or two from here and there. Like I knew how to kind of throw a kick from I think kung fu or karate, something like that. I knew how to do like a traditional punch, and I can incorporate those stances into everything. And so I was working that place. I had worked at a Great Basin Brewery as well. I was an expo there, so I'd run food from the kitchen out to tables. And then while I was doing that martial arts class, I skipped a very important part of the story. I always do that. I was volunteering to go to Iraq at this point. This is when ISIS was...
After you got kicked out?
Yeah. This is like 2016 now. Okay. So this is like 3 years later at this point. But this is when ISIS was like just on a rampage between Iraq and Syria. And guys from all over the world at that time were volunteering from other countries, traveling over there to fight. A lot of them went to go fight like as ISIS guys, and then a lot of them went to go kill ISIS guys. And I was going to go kill ISIS guys. So
if you would have said I was going to go fight on ISIS's side at that moment, I would have lost my mind. That would have been the funniest plot twist
just admit,
of all time.
I was going to go kill the infidel. I had one of those morale patches. Have you seen like the Velcro things that guys get when they want to be cringy? I had one that said infidel in Arabic at that time. I used to wear that.
That's pretty interesting.
Yeah. I mean, it wasn't like a racial thing. It was like fuck ISIS to me, but people mistook that a lot. But anyway,
I would never consider that race.
Yeah. So some people, I mean, like Islam's not a race; it's religion. So it's not racist, but people still mistook my intentions there. And anyway, so I was volunteering to go do that. I got in touch with some guys who had actually gone over there. And so I was like training up. I was actually getting in the gym again at the college there. I was saving up money. So I was working 2 jobs, and then that's why I started going to that martial arts class as well. During that class, one of the guys I met was a former Marine and a former cop. And he was working. He told me he worked security now at some crazy ass nightclub. And I'm like, okay, whatever. We kind of hit it off because I told him, I was like, hey, I was in the Army, and I explained the whole spiel to him too. He's like, yeah, whatever. You wore the uniform. And I'm like, yeah, okay, whatever. But we did that class long enough together. He came up to me one week and says, hey, I'm short this weekend. You want to come work? I said, sure, fuck it. He says, okay, go buy black boots, black pants, and a black belt, and wear a black undershirt, and meet me at some gas station. I don't remember which one it was. Tomorrow night. I go, okay, so
you're about to get jumped into the FBI, dude.
It felt like that, man. So I meet him at this gas station. At the time, he said I had bought my 511 black pants and my 511 belt and my Danners, my black Danners. And I met him in this parking lot. He gets out of his truck. I get out of I think I was driving a Jeep. I think at the time I had the Jeep. It doesn't matter. And I get out of this car, and he gets in like his back seat area, and he pulls out this fucking Kevlar vest, and he throws it at me. He says, put that on. I'm like, are you fucking serious? And he's like, yeah. Okay. Then he hands me a fucking badge, man. Like it's a fucking metal. I still have it.
Yeah.
It's a metal badge, like what police wear, but it says security on it. And I'm like, Jesus Christ. And it was like in a leather holster thing. They have holders for them. And he says, you put that on your belt, wear it on your left side because it's on the same side as your heart. And I go, okay, that's where we wear badges. Then he hands me a security shirt. He says, put this on over your armor. So we do that. He's get in the car with me. We drove over to this club. He's like, fucking pump me up. But I had gotten the name of the club from him before, and it was a Mexican club, and the kitchen that I was working at, Great Basin in Sparks, all the cooks are Mexican, and I was back in the kitchen a lot. So I told them, they're like, "Oh, no mames, way. Like, oh, adios. They're not gonna see you again." I'm like, really? Okay. So I thought they were just fucking with me, but when he handed the goddamn body, I'm like, oh fuck, like this is just serious. So yeah, there was one fight that night, and I fucking was just like shaking with all the like adrenaline. I wasn't even in it. I was just like, oh fuck, like
Yeah.
It took me like 2 years, by the way, for that to stop happening to me.
Oh.
2 years of fighting, like fights for me to stop shaking after a fight.
Yeah, for sure.
But we ended up so that's where I got started, and I worked like a casino security. I worked at Tesla for a while. I didn't work for Google necessarily, but they're building a server area out here. The construction company that was doing that for them hired the company I was working for to do security out there. So I worked the Google site.
Interesting.
I did that for a while.
Wait, why the fuck did he give you a bulletproof vest?
Oh, because there's shootings like motherfuckers over there and stabbings and shit.
Let's get into that. So
yeah.
We won't say the name of the club, but just go ahead and go, because you've told me some of these stories before.
Yeah.
Just generally speak about what kind of encounters you have night to night.
Yeah, well, night to night, I don't want to say it's not too bad, because it's, perspective. But I would say, I'm going to give you my math spiel. Depending, over the 6 years that I did that particular club, I worked that club. I worked a lot of my other security jobs as well, because we started getting paid a lot in cash. And I also never ended up going to Iraq. Sorry, I'm just going to say I didn't go, and that's more, we can talk about that later. I just want to clarify, I actually never went, so back up here. But anyway, so we start average about 2 fights a night, 2 nights a week, 52 weeks in a year for 6 years is about where we were averaging. But it's because I don't want to exaggerate. If you subtract 500 fights off of that, that's still somewhere around 600 fights I've been in. So just to make sure I'm not exaggerating, I say, subtract 500 fights, and I've probably been in somewhere around 600 fights.
Yeah, and these guys are a bunch of knuckleheads, huh?
Some of them, yeah. So everybody's like, well, you're just fighting drunks. Actually, most of the guys I fought, like what I'm calling a fight, they were not drunk yet. A lot of them were like high on meth and shit. That was usually who I was fighting. I definitely kicked out a fuck ton of drunks, but I'm not calling that a fight. Yeah. Like, I mean, and a guy drinking does not equal drunk either. Like I've had a glass, that was Jack and Coke, right? Yep. Yeah, okay. Yeah, I've had like a glass of that where I'm not drunk. I'm as competent right now as I was
actually
before.
Pure liquid meth.
Pure liquid. Oh, that might be why I feel so good. I'm awake. I'm ready to talk. But yeah, so like most of the guys I didn't fight, most of the guys I fought were not drunk. But and that's what.
So you're dealing with sober-ish individuals.
Yeah.
Or you're dealing with people who are on like stimulants, probably like cocaine or meth.
Almost every guy that came in there, and that might sound unfair, but I saw with my own eyes, almost every guy that came in there was on meth or cocaine. It sounds like you're working
sort of like a seedy bar where seedy people like to hang out.
It's seedy as fuck.
And that's probably not that uncommon. I mean, even at normal bars, people just show up and do coke. So
yeah, which I didn't know anything about that until I started working there. I saw so much.
A lot of people don't
cocaine.
know this, but kratom is also actually considered a stimulant.
Can you snort it?
I've noticed that, dude. I've like taken it, and I've like.
I'm sure you can.
I'm asking the
snort
wrong
it,
questions.
That's probably the worst way to do it. You'd have to snort.
Sit forward a little bit.
You'd have to snort
still
way
good.
too
It
much
is.
of it.
Okay. Get comfortable. Where's the lighter? You got lighter stuff?
I don't know. But yeah, so a lot of them were knuckleheads. A lot of them were wannabe gangbangers and stuff. But I learned after a while that club, like a lot of the music they played, what were called corridos, and I probably said that all wrong. Sorry, but corridos. But a lot of those are like glorifying the cartel and the drug trade and shit like that. And so and they're outlawed in Mexico. And they would come up from Mexico and play them at this club, and people would come and see that. So that was the kind of people that wanted to go to this place. And so yeah, I've almost been stabbed, I don't know, like 4 or 5 times. I've been shot at more times than I can count. I've been shot at 7 times this year. And
How many times have you been shot at, Zeph?
Wait, so you're still working at this place?
I stopped like a month ago, or maybe 2 now. Maybe 2 months ago.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
Do you feel like, how does that feel?
I did not realize how fucking angry I was all the time. And like how tense. I'm still fucking tense. I like loud noise, like at the, like,
What's PTSD?
I don't want to call it that. I don't want to exaggerate because I don't think I'm not like constantly.
No, that's what it is though. Like
Yeah.
I'll go ahead and diagnose a little bit.
You gonna
just
diagnose me
because,
some? Okay.
I mean, I'm not a medical professional or by any means, so I'm not going to officially diagnose you. But I've taken enough psychology classes where, like, the bare minimum that you need to be considered like in a PTSD threshold is to have triggers that are associated to past trauma.
I guess.
And so if you're getting shot at and loud noises freak you out, there's a difference between like really extreme PTSD where you're trying to like find the body parts of like 7 people you are like the best friends.
Yeah, no,
best
I don't
friends.
have that. No,
That
definitely
kind
not.
of shit is a little bit different, but and there's levels of PTSD because some PTSD it's not like you have it for the rest of your life. It can go away. It just the time dependency and the amount of stressors involved is what depends, is what changes the level of PTSD you have. But you definitely have some level of PTSD, I'm sorry to say. I will guarantee that.
I have, I freak out. I just want to clarify, like freak out may be the wrong way to put it. And maybe it's the right way. Let me explain what I mean though. Like when I hear it, I have like a reaction.
Mm-hmm.
Like it's not like
heightened anxiety.
Yeah, I guess.
You don't react like the average person would.
No. So that's kind of silly, but the 4th of July story this year, I was at the gym at work, like late at night too, and I could hear the fireworks through the headphones. But by the time I got done, it was like 11:30 at night.
Kind of like shaking a little bit.
No, I was fine. Like
Oh.
I was fine there because I knew what to expect it. I'm like, oh, whatever.
Gotcha.
And it was just after. It was like a month after, or no, not even. It was like 2 weeks after my last. It's been 2 weeks since my last shooting I was in, and anyway, so I get done with the workout. It's like 11:30 at night. I walk out the front door, so I'm actually outside, and as I'm still on that sidewalk right there, somebody lit those fucking fireworks right across the street that sound like automatic gunfire. And it went bang, 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 and I fucking threw my goddamn bag off, went into a lower stance, and was reaching for my gun. And I wasn't wearing one, but I was automatically doing that before I realized what happened. And like that whole thing took like, it was like that fast before I was like, that whole reaction there, I was like, oh, this is fucking fireworks.
That's PTSD.
So, yeah, but I was like, for a second there, I was like all feeling sorry for myself. Like, oh, I'm all fucked up. And I was like, that's actually kind of fucking funny. Like, 'cause I was imagining like what the security guard right behind me saw because he could still see me. I was like, oh, I don't know if that fucking
guy's
looked.
seen some shit.
Like,
because that's what I see. Like when I see people act like that, like one, you had an intelligent response. Because if that was gunfire, that's the only thing that you should be doing is probably.
I was gonna go kill it, but
yeah.
yeah.
so there. I mean, that's why I think a lot of PTSD probably is socially dependent in my opinion in terms of diagnosis, because PTSD symptoms like in war zones where you're still in the conflict.
Mm-hmm.
Don't really seem to actually express themselves as much because the context is appropriate for the response. Now, when the same sort of like triggers and signals happen in a setting where those things aren't the normal, that's when it seems like, oh, that guy has PTSD. But it's like, well, no shit. He's literally been reacting to a very specific scenario that he's been doing for years. And so it's like, it's just like when, it's sort of like if you were to tell like a wrestler not to sprawl if someone like jumped on them.
Yeah,
Like, you're
yeah.
Of course he's gonna sprawl. One, it's the right thing to do.
Yeah, it's the right thing to do. Yeah.
But like, so like if like a grandma like fell into a wrestler, he's like sprawl and splash her face. In the ground.
Yeah. That's yeah.
And he'd be like, "Oh, dude, why did you?" He's like,
Fucking
"Sorry, I'm just designed to sprawl."
bumped
Then you'd
into
be
a
like,
toddler.
"You have a problem." And it's like,
Yeah.
no, I'm just trained to do that.
Yeah.
So it's I think training and context appropriate reaction are things that are kind of underlooked in PTSD diagnosis.
I guess that's fair. Yeah. I just kind of thought it was like after the second I had like feeling sorry for myself, like a sack of shit. I was like, that's actually kind of fucking funny, especially for the security guard, if he was watching, that was probably fucking hilarious. Just to see somebody yeet his fucking bag off his shoulder for no goddamn reason, and then just stand there and stare at it for a minute, like,
damn,
what the fuck did that guy just? Because it takes me so much longer to explain what happened than it actually took to take place that it's hard to convey like how fast it was, the reaction, and my like, cause it's like I react and then I'm like, there's a slight lag time, like processing. That's not a gunshot. That's that's fireworks.
Well, because you can't have that lag when the gunshots are happening.
Yeah, that's true.
It can't exist because that is literally the difference between people living and dying is that lag.
Yeah,
and I mean that makes complete sense. It's just hard to rationalize to ourselves that, you know, when it's out of the context that it feels awkward.
That's when PTSD isn't really PTSD. It's like it's the
my grandpa. Yeah, go ahead. Sorry.
It's the like the successful adaptive trait.
Mm-hmm.
You know.
Yeah,
That's
exactly.
true.
It's the thing that was, you know, keeping you safe. But my grandpa, he used to be a cop, and way long ago, like way before I was born, he stopped being a cop. And when I would stay at their house, he would sleep out on the couch watching like fucking crime shows and shit. And then so I would go to use the restroom and or like when I was a little kid, I'd be like, grandpa, and they'd be like, the rule was like, don't touch grandpa when he's sleeping.
Mm-hmm.
Because grandpa will punch you.
Yeah.
In the fucking face.
Oh fuck. I punched a girlfriend once in my sleep.
Oh no.
Yeah.
She like it?
No, she started crying and I woke up like vaguely aware of what had happened. Like, kind of realized I never fully woke up for that whole thing. I feel like an asshole about that, but yeah, this is 2019. It was probably the second most violent year I had at that club too.
Yeah.
So I don't know exactly what happened, but I didn't like fucking wail on her, but I did sock her pretty good in the cheek.
Trying to wake you up?
I have no idea, man. Like I never fully woke up.
Just her cold ass feet.
It might have been. It might have been. She might have been just taking the blanket. I have no clue, but it wasn't.
Men should hit women in their sleep.
It wasn't awful. She didn't even have like any bruising. I didn't hit her hard, but it was hard enough to make her cry. So I feel bad about this. Sorry, you mentioned that. I was like, yeah, I fucking hit a woman. Like, I'm going to brag about that to the world.
No, well, it's funny because I have, like, the opposite story where my ex would wake up, like, well, I would wake up to my ex saying horrible things to me. Like, I fucking hate you. You're fucking stupid. I fucking hate you. I hate everything about you. And hitting me.
Really? Jesus Christ.
And I was like,
whoa.
And I was like, how should I wake up to that? And be like, what the fuck is happening? But she had night terrors.
Oh, shit.
So,
fuck.
So she would wake up sometimes also screaming, and I would wake up and I'd be like, whoa, are you okay? Are you okay? And she's like, like staring at the ceiling and screaming like there's a spider. And then I would like touch her, and then she like really starts screaming like because like she doesn't even know I'm here yet. She's still in a dream. Like, night terrors are a very interesting phenomena. So when I touch her, it really fucks her up. Like, she's like, oh, fuck, you know? And then eventually she's, like, wakes up, and she comes to, and she's like, just like she woke up from a nap. She's like, what? What's going on? Damn. And I was like, bro, babe, you were, like, screaming at the top of your lungs. Like, I thought someone was in the house. I thought we were gonna die. Like, Jesus I don't know what was happening.
Yeah, no shit.
And then so like when she would fucking wake up and fucking start hitting me and calling me names and shit, there was one point where I was like, it's just her night terrors. But it was starting to happen so frequently, like twice a night sometimes. Like one time I was like, damn. And then I go back to sleep, and then I'd wake up, like, what the and it was always like that weird space where you're still sort of asleep, so you're not even sure how much of it happened, and what you like are aware of. So I could never like really fully contextualize what was going on. I just remember waking up to her freaking out and hearing and hearing her calling in those names and shit, and also her hitting me. And one night I just had enough. You know, like I was like, stop. Like I got mad. I was like, stop. I turned on the light. I'm like, what are you doing? 3 times tonight? 3 times tonight I wake up to you fucking hitting me and trying to kick me out of the bed? And she's like, what? What's going on?
Oh,
Sorry.
And I was like, no, none of that shit. None of that shit. What the fuck are you doing? Why are you doing what? I know you're awake. You're fucking awake. You just did it. Like, and I was really mad. She's like, I really don't know what you're talking about. But then it never happened again.
Really?
And so I think it was like, for real, she was just psychotic and was like actually
What?
hitting me.
God
Yeah.
damn, man. That was a roller coaster for
fucking
me. I was like,
serious?
fuck that bitch. I was like,
Yeah,
oh,
dude.
god damn, she had it rough. And I'm like, fuck that bitch. So-
And then there's the best gift that like encapsulates this. Like there's this gif of like a 1950s like housewife walking into like a bedroom and the guy's like sleeping. She's like mad at him, right? Because he's asleep and not paying attention to her or something.
Mhm.
She like walks in, she like looks at him and she's like, she slaps him and he like wakes up and she's like, oh baby, you were having a nightmare. He's like, oh, something. What happened? And he's like, shh, it's okay, babe. Just go back to sleep. You were having a bad dream. I'm here now.
Wait, okay. How long did you deal with this?
Yeah, that's a good
before?
question.
Not a year.
A
Damn.
year?
But like, so she had the night terrors, and she never did that shit. And then when we were starting to go through like rough patches in our relationship, all of a sudden it started happening.
Mm-mm.
And then when I confronted her about it, because I was like, it's just her night terrors. I'm not going to think about it too much. But it was happening so frequently that I was like, I can't even sleep now because, like, I'll go to bed and I'll just wake up feeling assaulted. Like, it's crazy. Like, I'll just wake up being assaulted. and
Yeah, no, that's
I'm like, I can't live like this. I have to, like, at least wake her up. Because, like, a lot of times I would just, like, kind of, like, endure it. Or, like, I'd fall back asleep and it would stop. Or, like, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Or I'd, like, nudge her and then she'd be like, or whatever. And,
How long were you with her before?
oh, we were together about only a year and a half.
Yeah.
Okay.
So we dated for a month and then we moved in together.
Damn.
Oh,
Damn.
what?
Yeah.
Oh, fuck. And this started happening, like, pretty much immediately?
I would say after like 3 or 4 months
Jeez.
of dating her.
And then how long were after she stopped doing that, were you just like... Because, like, once like, she just completely stops doing it...
I was in such a bad spot. Like if I couldn't, because we dated a while after that even, and
Oh,
I was
fuck.
basically just stuck in a lease with her.
Mm.
I even moved apartments with her because I couldn't afford to live by myself where I was. And then I finally got a job that was paying me enough, and that's when I moved out. And so there's like a good, I would say after the 4th month of being with her, I was like already like I need to get out of here. And then it was just, but I knew she was kind of, I won't even, see, I don't want to blame her too much because I've thought about our relationship a lot, and I feel like I kind of used her to not have to get housing on campus. I feel like I used her. I had my own intentions of moving in that weren't purely just for the relationship. And so I think I all the blame for being in this situation I put on myself because I've thought about these things
there has
before
to
I
be,
lived
like,
with
a
her.
benefit to moving in with somebody. You don't just do that...
Well, it wasn't like the idea was like we're gonna move in, and it's it's nice we can live off campus, but it was also like we're moving in because we really like each other and we're
Yeah, I
we're
guess it
in
was
love
only after
or
a
whatever.
month.
And
It's
I
pretty...
felt like I was kind of like lying. I was lying to myself too because I jumped into this relationship and went really serious into it
Yeah.
because I wanted to ensure I could keep going to university. Because there was a period there where I was like, if I don't get housing on campus, which was very scarce at the time, next quarter, like I have to go home. And then all this money was for nothing. Like I can't afford to live anywhere here. And I don't have my car up there at the time. But then eventually, so we moved out, and it was sort of like a survival mechanism for me. So I kind of, it wasn't all about that, but there was a lot of that intent in there. And then I recently became aware of how much I was like, oh man, I was kind of manipulating a lot of the situation too. But then she was also fucking crazy. So with that said, we
Dude,
were
I
both
can-
crazy. Yeah.
As soon as I figured, like, assuming that, like, she was doing it intentionally, I couldn't be with that person.
Well, I couldn't leave.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I've
I was
been
just stuck there.
I've been
Oh,
stuck
yeah.
before.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, not. I figured that
Yeah.
stuff out, kind of, because I knew. Luckily for me, I was at a, not to say I'm mature, but I was mature enough
Okay.
when I was in those situations to know that if I did stay with that person, I was ultimately just using them for the rent. And so
Mhm.
I didn't do that. But, yeah, we make fucking mistakes like that, and it's part of growing up,
Mhm.
So did you go to college, like, right out of high school? Or
I went
fairly
to community
close?
college for 2 years. I went to UNR for 1 year, and then I went to UCSD for 2 years.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, so was that, like, all, like, pretty much right out of high school? Or
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. So you young when you were doing all that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
for sure.
Yeah.
I was, well, when I was with her, that was recent. That was like right before COVID. We actually broke up during COVID,
Yeah.
and we're like on and off during COVID, which is kind of weird. But yeah, but so here's just to exemplify my point. When I finally moved out, and I was trying to like kind of end things, we were in this on-off stage kind of deal. She ended up moving out too, and she moved to a house right next to where my new apartment was. Like literally, like
Did she hit your car with the
not even a block away. And so I think there's a lot of manipulation there,
Yeah.
But
Yeah,
Yeah,
it doesn't
that's
sound good. Doesn't sound
no,
good. I don't
it
want to
wasn't good.
cast. I don't mean to cast
So,
judgment, but
The whole entire the entire time you lived there, you were like dealing with this person.
Pretty much.
damn.
Is that why you moved back?
No, I moved back because I didn't have money. I got laid off.
It's a good reason.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She eventually started dating somebody else towards
Okay.
towards the end of COVID, or towards I guess the beginning, middle of COVID. By the time when when I got laid off, I wasn't there much longer, so it wasn't like we had already pretty much broken it off completely at that point.
Damn.
Yeah. Bitches be tripping, bro. That's what
That's
I got.
true. That's true.
wild.
Some of the worst fights I ever saw were women fights.
Really? Because
Yeah.
they're violent, or because they're
It's kind of multifaceted. Women are just as violent, but they fight weird too, and so it's like one of the weirdest things to do.
unorthodox?
Yeah, well, it's not good fighting, and it's like it's kind of hard to deal with somebody who doesn't know how to fight. Sometimes you're like just doing weird shit, and they're not gonna win. You're just like, I don't know how to fucking handle that.
Yeah.
Like where they're just like
confusing.
those guys that just flail their fucking arms.
Mhm.
It's like you're not landing punches. You're not doing a good job. You're not gonna win. But I actually don't know what to do about this except distance right now. Like
Yeah.
like I actually do not know any fucking like martial arts moves to handle your fucking flailing. So women are kind of like that, and it's also like, I mean, they're fighting each other, but you kind of don't want to just beat the shit out of a woman. So you're like, how do I handle this? But yeah, one of the fights that stuck with me, I was 2017, I think. So I've been there about a year, and I was it's about 2 a.m. at this point, and one of the girls comes up to me and starts like one of the waitresses. I say that one of the waitresses comes up to me, and she's like blah, 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 in Spanish. I have no clue what she's saying. Baño, baño, baño. And I go, what? And she grabs me and just basically pulls me to the women's bathroom. I was like, oh fuck, she's gonna try to do something to me in this bathroom. I was not.
Like,
So
okay.
well, because I mean, sometimes that happened. No, I was like, no, thank you. But anyway, she fucking yanks the door open to the women's bathroom, and there are like these 3 girls over this other girl on the ground, beating the shit out of her. There's blood everywhere, fucking everywhere. Fuck. So I wasn't armed at this point. Not that was an appropriate point to shoot people, but just kind of again trying to set the scene here. So I carried like a stun gun, like one of the little purse taser things. I mean, they're not just for purses, but you know what I'm talking about. And got that out, and I just cranked it off in the air, like like slid right in the middle of all those girls, like cranked it off in the air and got them out of there. All the security guards started showing up, and I just pulled them all out of there. This girl, though, they were beating the crap out of, she starts struggling, and she's like gushing blood everywhere. And I was trying to like talk to her, like, hey, you okay, you okay, you okay, look at me, look at me. And then I look over at the bathroom sinks, and they're at the sharp fucking corner on the sink, and there's a fucking skin and hair hanging off that corner, dripping blood, and she's gushing blood everywhere. And she kept wanting to fight those girls, and
She doesn't even know where she was.
and that's what I started to think, right? And
Her body's like,
she was flailing, and so I was trying to calm her down. I was trying to like put pressure on her head because she was bleeding so much. Like I couldn't tell how bad it was because most of her hair is still there. It just looked like a lot of blood, and with seeing, like, I saw skin on that corner, like, damn, like I have no idea, or
so
like
brutal.
she could have broken her skull just like you, and I didn't know what to do, and she didn't speak much English, so we were trying to hold her, and she kept like trying to go fight those girls, and so the girls were, I think, gone at this point, but we got her outside, and
What a bad bitch.
yeah, well, we didn't have any fucking first aid stuff at this point either. So I had like this fucking dish rag that I hoped to God was clean, and I was holding it on her head trying to stop the bleeding. And then one of the other guys was holding her because she wanted to get in her car and drive. We're like, you can't. And she's flailing it. Like, I'm pretty sure she was drunk. I think she was high on something else as well. I don't know what, but she was not acting normal. Like, I don't be here all night telling that story because I ended up sitting there for 2 fucking hours holding this girl and trying to get somebody to call the police. I only got somebody to call the police, and I said, if one of you, like, people standing around just watching us for 2 hours deal with this, just like watching, like, hey, what's going on? And I'm like, call the police. Somebody call the fucking police. Call the police. And I finally looked at one guy and his knife handed him, like, you don't get on the fucking phone with the goddamn police. I'm going to arrest you for attempted murder, motherfucker. Now get on the goddamn phone.
Yeah.
He's like, okay, fine. I speak English suddenly. And he fucking called the police, and they showed up.
Where's the other security?
Fucking off. They all went back inside. So just the two of us out there with her. They weren't calling. We told them to call the police. They didn't know. Like, nobody was fucking. We that was the other thing about this club. Like, I had 1 or 2 guys that I worked with that whole time, or at any given time, that I could trust. The other guys, fuck those guys.
Yeah.
I never said that to their face because you can't, but I'll say it right now. Fuck those guys.
Yeah. Hey, fuck you.
They're pieces of shit.
Shit.
They're pieces of shit. I have you all on camera standing there watching me deal with a shooting, just watching on the fucking sidewalk, not doing anything. Fuck y'all. So, anyway. So yeah, when the police showed up, EMT showed up and got everything, and I, checked her out. I don't know what they ended up deciding to do with her. I think they took her, not like arrested her, but took her to like the drunk tank, I think, or put her under medical care. I'm not sure, but she didn't.
Hopefully medical care.
I think, I'm not sure. I just don't know because I'm not owed an explanation of what they do at that point. But I had blood from my fingertips to my shoulders on both arms, and I had blood all over my fucking face and in my ear and everything, and I wasn't mine. None of it was mine, but so yeah, it was women fight weird, but like they'll grab each other's hair, man, and they'll and then they just flail on the fucking ground and like yank on each other and like I don't want to hit you. I can't
People.
Like, what do I do? It's really hard to break those fights up.
Yeah, and people just like, I don't understand how people who don't fight start fighting because I mean I do because I did that when I was younger. You just think you can. Maybe it's like a genetic thing.
I never got into fights growing up.
I got in one fight.
I got into one too, but like I wasn't generally doing that. So
I lost.
Sorry. I think I lost technically, but I made my point. So, but sorry I interrupted you.
No. Yeah, it's just it's interesting that confidence to not only think that you could win, but also that you're not going to accidentally kill somebody, because where most fights take place is over very hard surfaces with sharp things nearby.
There's many times I thought, like, actually one of the other bouncers had killed somebody. Yeah. I thought he bounced somebody's skull off the fucking ground like a basketball once. And that guy ended up being fine, but I thought for a second he wasn't moving and his eyes were open and like nothing. I was like, oh, fuck, you just killed him.
Dude, it's gnarly. It's so crazy because it's like, like those girls, and they probably smashed her head into the corner of that fucking.
She hit it hard. You had to hit it pretty fucking hard to leave skin. Like it wasn't just like kind of hanging. It was like fucking on the goddamn corner. Like you had to peel it off. She'd hit that hard.
That shit, like that's like GG's a lot of time for people. It's so easy just to.
What's that mean?
Good game. Gamer term. Like GG. That's what. So if you like winning a game. and it's like half mocking and like half
Okay.
good.
I mean,
You
used
put
it
in the chat like GG in the chat.
So you're not being serious when you.
No. Typically you're
Okay.
You're like GG.
I was like, good game. I was like, means you did good, right? Like, okay, no, it's not.
It's kind of mocking.
Okay.
But it can be like sincere, but it's never like super sincere.
Okay, gotcha.
Like, GG.
Okay, tracking, damn, yeah. So, anyway, yeah, I was shot at by a woman once too. Fucking,
It's pretty hot.
fuck that bitch too.
Just,
No, I've never been hit. Luckily,
but you're always wearing a vest.
no, I stopped wearing a
Speaking of
vest
myself.
actually. After a while, I stopped. I got a god complex for like,
Yeah.
ain't nothing gonna happen to me. But
Yeah.
I mean, I didn't. I'm exaggerating. That wasn't really the case. It was that the armor was old that I had. I couldn't afford new armor, and it was
So you justified yourself.
well, yeah, justify my attitude. But it was hot as fuck. It was fucking on my back because you can't. The one I had anyway, I couldn't really bend my back,
Yeah.
and I was working these nightclubs just like 8, 9, 10 hours long sometimes. Like they weren't. This club did not close at like 2 a.m. It was open till 7, 8, 9, 10 in the morning, and I'd be there from 11 or 12 the night
brutal.
before, and so you'd just be going straight. These people would be partying, so it was not like I wear my armor for 3 hours, I'm done, go home. It was like, no, you're working. So it wasn't very highly rated. It was very old, and it made it hard to aim when I started wearing armor. Started using a gun. It made it hard to aim because it was too big for me. So I couldn't get a good grip on my firearm.
How many days a week were you doing this?
That club specifically 2, sometimes 3 if we had a special thing going on.
So just
So
every weekend?
yeah. I say Friday nights, Saturday nights, but it was really more like Saturday morning, Sunday morning. It was usually at midnight that we'd start. But so I hadn't slept from that Friday before starting, but it was technically midnight Saturday morning, midnight Sunday morning.
That's wild.
So
Like, how do you even know how that's like sleep deprivation and you have to be so alert.
it's fucking bad. Having quit now.
I was talking to you about this at work, dude. I was telling you, I was like, you need to stop. It's bad. And you're like, it's okay.
Well, I did it for 6 years, man. Like, and I just got used to it, but I've been noticing now, like, dude, I feel better. Like,
You get used
just
to
sleeping.
the pain. It's like with anything.
Yeah.
It's like with addictions. It's like with depression. It's like the same thing as being lazy, eating food. You get so used to the routine of how shitty your body feels that you don't realize, like, you almost forget that it can feel better. I forget it all the time when I'll stop working out sometimes for like a month or 2 months, and then I'll feel like shit, but I'll forget that I'm feeling like shit, and then I'll work out like really consistently for 2 months, like super hard, and then all of a sudden I'm like springy.
Yeah.
I'm like springy, and I'm like clear, and I'm focused, and it's like feels super athletic. I feel like I could fucking like go at any second, and then it's like doesn't even take that long. It takes like a week, and then I'm like,
yeah.
why do I feel so tired?
I
can't be the fucking eating Cheetos and sitting in.
Yeah, exactly. No, I'm aware of it now, but fuck, I love me some junk food, man. But
Yeah, same.
yeah.
That's good. It sounds like you're like you also don't realize how much like that fatigue puts mental strain on you. Like not even just the mental strain of the job itself, but the mental strain of just your body being exhausted.
Like being awake. Yeah.
Yeah.
No, it actually takes a ton out of you, 'cause I would be up different periods. I also should clarify, I did not work like 6 years straight every weekend. I often was like, fuck this job after, I'd take like 2-month, 3-month break and then come back. And I did that throughout. So I'd be like, fuck this. But I stayed busy the whole time. And there were several periods in my life I would go 72 plus hours without sleeping every week because I'd just be working. So I'd work one job, then go to that job, then earlier this year, from about January consistently up till March, and then off and on from March up through July, I would start work at 8 a.m. on Friday for my second shift, work 12 hours there, get off, go home, eat, get ready for the club, go to the club around 11:30 midnight, get at the club, get off the club at 7 in the morning, go back to the lab for my shift at 8 in the morning, and then work from 8 in the morning till 8:30 that night, get off there, go home, eat, go to the club again at midnight, work until 7 in the morning, get off at 7 in the morning, go back to the lab at 8 in the morning, and work till 8:30 at night on Sunday. So I would go from Friday morning, 8 in the morning, till Sunday. I would not go to bed till around 10 p.m. Sunday night. And I did that every week this year. So it was like I was working like 60. Yeah, no, I would drink. I even stopped drinking energy drinks. Like
Just sober.
It probably helped you, honestly.
It did, yeah. Energy drinks fucked me up, man.
Yeah, I think that they help, and then I just realized you get addicted to the sugar and whatever other caffeine is in there.
I stopped drinking sugar. Sorry, better way to phrase that. I started drinking sugar-free only energy drinks, and
disgusting.
They taste gross, but I just felt gross. You know, they make you feel gross. They make me feel gross anyway. I don't know.
Yeah, you start to get that kind of
it's my gut. It makes my gut feel all
Yeah.
fucky. But yeah, so yeah, no, it's rough though. And so then when you're getting in, the hard thing for me this year was I get in a shooting. And my shootings this year were pretty fucking serious. Like I've had some that were like less serious. These ones this year were like nuts.
Yeah.
And I get in that, and you don't the police get, we do the whole thing. They wrap that up, and I don't go home. I don't get time off. I go back to work.
Yeah.
And then I go from that environment, and I don't get to go sleep or take a break. Then I have to go to my other job where it's a totally different fucking environment. And
can you take out the honestly
that was honestly on my mind a lot. Sometimes I'd be over there washing dishes. Like I was like
just in a shooting.
I was just shot at, or I almost killed somebody. I almost died. People almost died.
Bro, that's like shit I would have called in the next day. It'd just be like,
what is
hey,
that?
I got shot at yesterday. I'm not coming in today.
Oh, I did once. I did for one. But that was
Just one.
Well, no, the thing about that one was that I quit that job. I went to a different nightclub for a little bit. It was I'm gonna dox this one. It was the Oak Room here. Fuck that place.
Fuck the Oak Room.
I worked there for one weekend. It was fine. It was kind of cool. Some cute girls were coming in, and we didn't have any
Cute
fights.
girls make it worth it.
Cute girls do make it worth it. The other club I was working at, they were not most of the time it was not cute girls. And so but it was also peaceful the first week. I was like, okay, sweet. Like change of pace. I can make my money and do the other stuff I'm doing and keep it all together. But then the next week, get in a fucking shooting, and I get in a foot chase with the police. I go on a foot chase through Sparks with the police after an armed suspect who just shot at me.
Yeah.
And and I should probably rewind and tell that whole fucking story, but because it was nuts. But to finish up the original point though, it wasn't even that I got shot at or that place sucked. It was that when it was done and the police were trying to help wrap it up, they were requesting footage from the nightclub owner, and he wanted to be the DJ. And he's like, no, fuck it, I'll do it when I'm done DJing. Fuck that. And it was his fucking fault the shooting happened in the first place. It was actually one of the buddies he let in through the back, brought a gun into the club, and that was who ended up the whole fucking thing. And I said, you know what, if you're going to be like this, fuck you. Fuck you. I'm not doing this. If that's how you're going to be. Like, if you're not even going to cooperate with the fucking police because your mix is more important, fuck you. Somebody, it was fucking packed that night. So I would say about 100 people were in serious danger at any given point that night.
Jesus.
And during that whole incident too. And that was what actually scared me. And so I quit, and that was the first time ever I'd had downtime like immediately after. Because usually it's like, okay, Gabe, time to go back to work. Like that's just the attitude, like back to work. And I never sit there and unpackage it.
Yeah.
And
did that make it harder?
No, that was fucking awful. Yeah, because I was also
you're just stuck with your thoughts by yourself.
Yeah, and I ended up.
I'm saying to distract you from it.
Yeah, well, I ended up. I actually had a girl, an ex, who was coming to see me at that club. Was like, hey, you should come by, And as she was on her way, this whole thing happens, and so they go to another club or another bar. Sorry, not a club. And I actually went up and met up with them, but I was like fucking amped. Like there was no calm back down. There was like nobody's got my back. It was like just fucking amped.
So stressed out, yeah.
And you want to just tell the whole story? I can
go for it.
Okay. Because I'm trying to explain things and there's no context for it. So we're working there, having like some rap night. So it was like a whole different crowd in there. And there's like 3 owners. And one of them comes up to me in the middle of the night. And he's like, hey, I need you to kick that guy out. I'm like, okay. You say so, he's out. Go grab him. I was like, hey, you need to leave. He's like, I ain't fucking going anywhere. I'm like, and this is normal, right? But like, yeah, you are. Come on, let's go. And I grab him and I pick him up. Well, I don't like heave him. I just like grab under his arm and like get the, like, this is where we're going. And, you know, the rest is up to them on their own movement. But I don't know what it is about kicking people out of a nightclub, but when they get to the door, that's when they want to fight.
Yeah.
I don't know why. Because I take the guy, I have, every time I take the guy from one of the club to the other in the club, no problem. Get to the door, now it's a fight. So he gets to the door and he fucking yanks his, like out of my grip, and I wasn't holding on that tight, and he turns around like he's going to fight. I'm like, oh, whatever, fine, we're going to do this. But I saw a gun in his fucking waistband. I'm like, oh, fuck. And he grabs it. And I had my gun, and I grab it. I'm like, get your hand off your fucking gun, like, right now. Right now. He's like, fuck you, motherfucker. And he starts backing up out the door. And now we're outside, but I'm following, like, get out. People are walking up. There's people behind me. There's like, all these girls, like, all like freshly 21, like, brand new 21, like, ton of people. And they're walking behind him. And at this point, it's an armed situation. It's an armed standoff. Like, I'm about to fucking shoot this guy, right? Like we're this close to, like, open lethal violence. And there are all sorts of people just walking up, walking around. And I'm like, get your hand off your fucking gun. Go, get out of here. And he's like, fuck you, motherfucker. I'll fuck you up. So I drew my gun at this point. And when I do, as soon as I draw my gun, like 30 motherfuckers walk right behind this guy. Like, fuck, like, get out of the fucking way. I was like, what? Move. Yeah. But the thing with this is, like, I'm terrified of somebody else getting hurt.
Yeah.
Like we're close, and I'm a decent shot. Especially at that range, like I'm fairly,
so many
I'm confident I can land hits, but like there's the over penetration is a risk, but there's also just missing. There's him, he's a shooter. Like, no, you're not in control of the situation. You can be badass as you are actually not in total control of the situation, right? Like, if you are, there's not a situation. That the total control is we're good. So, so I've got my gun and I don't want to point it at him yet. Right. I mean, I want to, but I don't want to endanger the people behind him. I'm flagging him. He's fucking yelling at me, and I'm following. He's backing up, continues back up to the parking lot. And so I'm tracing him. We're going through cars. People are in their fucking cars. He's weaving in and out of these cars. And the people are still walking up. And he yells something at me. I still don't remember what he said, but he actually yanks the gun out of his fucking waistband and racks around. I heard the fucking slide go, and I started to raise it, and then somebody else comes from running out of, like, the entrance to the club, which is off to my right at this point, and gets right in front of him. It's like, no, bro, don't do it. I'm like, oh, no, I can't take a shot again. I got a guy who's not actively a threat, and he's trying to defuse the situation. He's in between me and this guy, and there's people still walking around behind. At this point, I look over, and there's a parking lot attached to this nightclub's parking lot. It's kind of like shared. And there are Sparks police officers in that parking lot, but they're dealing with something. I've got my light out now. Yeah. I'm yelling at them. I'm trying to flash them, like, get their attention. And I'm trying to watch him. I'm trying to watch everybody else going around here. And I lose sight of him. Yeah. He runs off behind a car, ducks off, and I can't see him anymore. And I'm still trying to do this. I'm trying not to flag anybody because he's now hiding between innocent people and me. And people in their cars have no fucking clue what's going on. They're on their fucking phones. They're smoking weed. They're doing whatever. And I'm like, fuck. And I, like, part of me wants to go follow him, but that's not a good idea because I don't know where he's at now. Right. So, and if I can let him go and we don't have a shooting, I don't need to be the super guy. I don't need to, like, catch the bad guys. The priority is nobody gets hurt. So I'm not going to go instigate some more. Of course, yeah. So I'm still trying to flag down the police, though they need to be involved at this point. And I look over my shoulder to see if I've got their attention yet, which is not looking where he ran off to. And you hear one round, bang, and I'm like, fuck. People start screaming and running everywhere. And the police, they'll come up. And I go down one knee. I'm like, oh, fucking goodness. And one other officer was, guard being security, officer being police. I'll set that rule up right now. So one of the guard was armed, and he was trying to help out, but he was over-penetrating. He was committing too much. He was actually trying to go after this guy. So I'm actually trying to call him back too. Like, no, do not. Like, we don't need to go after him yet. Like, that's, if we can let him go, like I said, that's what we need to do. And we don't want to just charge in there like this. Yeah. So, so now this all happens. It's like fucking chaos. Police run up. They see me, and we've worked together before because they knew me from the other nightclub, same department. And
wait, who made the shot?
The guy that I was kicking out, he started shooting.
At you guys?
Well, I don't have eyes on, but
right. Okay.
he was in conflict with me, right?
Yeah.
And if he didn't, I knew I wasn't hit, right? And there wasn't like multiple shots; it was one shot. But if it wasn't me that he shot, somebody else might have been shot, which is still a problem, right? Now he might have just murdered somebody or seriously injured them. So the police run up. We've all got our guns out, and we actually like, okay, we're moving, and we move up through these cars, and there's still fucking girls. I'm walking past cars with my gun out. I'm looking in these cars, like trying to look under these cars with fucking like kids, basically. I mean, they're like 19, some of them in these fucking cars. I'm like, Jesus fucking Christ, like I hope to God we don't get this wrong and shoot somebody.
Yeah.
And that's what I'm thinking. And so we get onto the other side of this cars, and there's another fucking parking lot, and it's empty. Well, it's cars, but it's like nobody's standing in it. Fuck, where'd he go? Like, where'd he go? So we slow the cadence down a little bit, split off, and I went around to the outside, the part like right next to the open street, and there's a little ledge separating the parking lot from the sidewalk, and I get up on that ledge, and I'm like catwalking on it, and there's cars right there, and I'm looking into these cars and trying to look over the rest of the parking lot and down the street. And I remember I was walking on this thing, and I looked down, and I'm standing right in front of this car, and there's one of the waitresses from the Oak Room sitting in the car. She looks up at me. I look down at her, and I've got the fucking gun out, and I just stay there. And she's like, okay. she was super casual, like, whatever. And I'm like, I don't even know what's going on, do you? But so police ended up seeing a pair of feet hiding behind this fence, and they said, hey, and the fucking guy took off running.
Yeah.
And so they ran off property, and I was in this weird situation. There were two officers, and I was in this weird situation, like, do I go? I mean, I'm a bouncer, basically, right? I'm not a cop.
Is it my jurisdiction?
Yeah, like, am I gonna get in trouble, or like, am I allowed to go?
Yeah.
But I'm watching these two officers chase one guy at least who we know has a gun, and they're by themselves. I was like, fuck that. I don't care what happens. I'm gonna go make sure they're not alone.
Yeah.
And so I ran off after them, and we go across one street, through another parking lot, across another street. We went across Prater, or no, I'm sorry, it's Audi at that point. It's Audi. And did I get Prater and Audi? Did I just mix those up? Or is
I don't know.
Okay. It's Audi at this point. I don't know if they're the same street. But anyway, we crossed that. There's cars driving across, by the way, and we're just running through traffic with guns out. And get him into the next parking lot right there by the Jiffy Lube. And he gives up. He goes on the ground, and he's laying there. And I totally skipped an important part. But anyway, there's a homeless guy that was running around this whole time, too. Like, he's cracked at his fucking head. Yeah. He ran right in front of us while we were looking for this guy. And I swear to God, I recognized him, but I knew the police didn't know who he was. Jesus. And so I thought for a second we were about to fucking kill this dude. And I was like, no, don't fucking shoot him. Don't fucking shoot him. So I'm terrified of that. Like, I was like, I already almost saw one innocent dude get fucking capped, So there's that. Now we're getting this guy arrested. Sirens are fucking everywhere because, I mean, obviously the officers called in like, hey, shots fired, shots fired. So Sparks Police Department as a whole is on their way, for an officer involved, shots fired. I don't think that's called an officer involved shooting. Anyway. So he's on the ground, and I've got my gun pointed at this guy. They've got their guns pointed at this guy. Police are showing up, getting out of their cars, fucking pointing their guns at this fucking guy. He's on the ground. Like, don't fucking move. Don't fucking move. There's a taco stand right there. People still trying to get their tacos. Like, get the fuck out of the goddamn way. Like, oh, taco. Well, do you not see what we're fucking doing?
Those, in their defense, it's probably pretty good tacos.
They probably were. But I'm totally sympathetic. They probably were like, what the fuck is going on? And not processing it. But what you're worried about is because you're trying to watch this guy's hands. You don't know, like, because I don't know why, but sometimes dudes give up and then they decide they want to go around two and they want to start shooting. So, you don't know. And if you start shooting, you could ricochet. I mean, we're shooting into pavement basically, right? You ricochet, hit somebody. You just don't want like move. And so enough officers show up. I think it was 5, might have been 4, but it's enough for them to do their thing where they move, uncover, and then they arrest them. I'm butchering all the terms because I don't know them, but I recognize what they were doing. When they did that, they moved in on him. I went off and started just securing the area around him, and other officers showed up. Those officers started just pulling people out of their cars who were there, and they had nothing to fucking do with anything. Whoa. These officers also did not know what was going on, right? All they know, shots fired, they show up, shit's happening.
You don't see the guy on the ground?
They saw the guy on the ground, but they don't know. They have no idea what this context is or anything. So I know it sounds bad, but they're just trying to make sure nobody gets hurt and that everything's handled properly. So they're pulling people out of their cars. I knew, and I was trying to explain to them, like, no, these guys are like not to do. anything. But the one car in particular that was there was full of like legit teenagers. I think they might have been 16, 17, and tinted out windows to the max. And so the police just pull the driver out, and there's like 3 other people in the car, like a girl in the passenger seat and 2 guys, and they just left me there with this car with these people. I'm like, fuck. I'm like, I'm trying to explain that I know them, and I'm just trying to calm them down. And I was like, do you guys like have ID on you? Right, you guys have IDs? And I didn't mean for them to like reach for it. I was like kind of, but when a girl starts reaching for something in this tinted out window with all these freaked out cops who don't know what's going on in the middle of a shooting. I'm like, no, please, don't. Just don't reach for anything. If you don't have it like right on you, just sit there, okay? I promise, just sit there, be calm. Don't. But I was terrified that this girl was about to get lit up.
Yeah.
Right there. And again, I wouldn't blame the police necessarily. It's just a shitty situation, right? Like it's just a shit ass situation. They can't see what she's doing from where they were. They were on the other side of this vehicle. So I was standing at an open door. I could see. There's no tinting between me and her, but between her and the police, tinted ass windows, right? And they had no fucking clue what was going on. So I'm just sitting there with her trying to make, and the other people like don't move or anything, and I was like trying to see if we could roll the windows down, just make it easier. I think we did end up getting the windows rolled down, but so anyway, that whole thing happens. We wrap it up, and police are actually like, "Hey, thanks, man, for coming with us." And I was like, "Oh, yeah, you got it." But yeah, so then, like I said, I quit, but winding down, I was terrified one of those girls was going to get hit, like one of the girls walking around, or one of the, young guys walking around. Like, I was terrified one of them was going to get shot, that I was going to shoot them, that the police were going to shoot them. And again, not like casting blame, it was just the shitty situation that it was. There was a ton of people just in the way who had nothing to do with it.
Was
and it was just at the wrong place, wrong time.
Thing that made you finally give it up?
No, I was in a couple more shootings after that.
Oh,
but no, that was just that was the one shooting I had where I actually had downtime and I cried. It wasn't like a long time, but I cried for like maybe like a minute. Like, just fuck.
Stress. Yeah, you got to get that out.
Yeah, and everybody always like, well, are you worried about you? Like, not really. Maybe it's arrogance. I don't know. I'm never really worried about me. But I sure as shit am terrified for other people sometimes.
Yeah,
like,
that's probably what makes you want to do this,
I was terrified for that homeless guy. Yeah.
That's selflessness, yeah.
Well, I don't want to say selflessness. It's not like I'm looking for a bullet or anything, but, and it's just like, maybe I'm just an idiot, and that's like I have no real grasp on my mortality, but
yeah,
it's kind of like when I heard the shot, I wasn't like, oh, am I hit? Like, you'll know if you're hit. Like if you hear it and you're alive, you're okay. Like, and that's not true. You can get hit other places than immediately fatal, but it's kind of the thought process that I'm like, I'm hearing the shooting and I'm still here. I'm not in pain.
Yeah.
Let's go. So. I'm sure it'd be a totally different story if I got hit. I would probably fuck my world up. But yeah. So that was rough.
And just to think, like, after all of that, not soon after, you ran into my car.
Yeah. Yeah.
No, just
I'm a man of many hats.
That's a crazy life you're living. And thank you for sharing those stories.
Yeah,
that's I'm sure they're not like easy to talk about a lot of time because it brings it up and shit.
No, I talk about it a lot. It's actually probably one of the ways I've dealt with it the most. It's like I'd show up to work and like Stephanie. I shouldn't be dropping names. Sorry, forget we're broadcasting. But Stephanie and but other people like other friends who I now remember not to name. Yeah, and I just talk, and I'm sure it's weird for other people, like just talking about it. I'm like, I can't not almost. I don't.
Well, that's what they teach you in the therapy. Usually, therapy for a lot of these, they make you actually like go through the entire situation over and over and over again until you just get numb of it. Because like the thing is you have to work through it a lot and from different angles and become increasingly more objective of it. Numb is the wrong word, but it's sort of like a numbing of the anxiety that it induces. So you play through it enough and not necessarily like, and you do it in a compassionate third person sort of perspective, and you look at how you're reacting from a compassionate point of view, and you're like, okay, this and this, and you look at it as just a matter of fact, that happened, this happened, that's how I was feeling when that happened, this is how I feel now, and then you work through all of the emotions and all this. There's a whole thing for it. But,
Okay.
it's actually really interesting because a lot of the things that make PTSD really bad is when people can't talk about it, or the people they talk about it to aren't good listeners and they don't understand like that's why a lot of therapy for like war veterans doesn't work, is because they're like, what the fuck do you know about watching people get blown up, or like watching kids get shot in the head, and you know, you have to fucking, or you shot a kid, or you blew up a kid that was next to and you have to go fucking whatever you have to do with their body or whatever it is, and you have to live with that, right? Or you watch, you know, like Vietnam, like that. There was those people who just went to a whole village and raped and killed all of them on our side, and then what is it called, My Lai Village or something like that? Fucking crazy shit. And one of the guys in there was like, no, and they were about to kill him.
Yeah.
Because he was like, well, you can't fucking tell our secrets now.
It's crazy shit.
And so like that's where like people are like, you have to find someone who is good enough at listening and can almost make light of it sometimes, because that's the levity in that at least for some people is what helps take down the anxiety inducing sort of aspects of it. Because like, if you can laugh about it, you can start understanding it better. That's why people who are in war together, when they start telling war stories, they'll laugh. It's called, what is it, gallows humor, you know?
Oh yeah.
That's why they do that.
Dark military humor.
Yeah. So
cop humor too.
Yeah, thank you for being on my podcast today.
Yeah, we go a long time.
Yeah. What time is it?
Fuck.
It's 9:30.
Oh, that's not bad.
Yeah.
You're just high.
This is going on in here in town?
Yeah, in Sparks.
That's so bizarre to me that...
Have you ever been to that area of Sparks, though? Like, my mom works over there, and I just drove through there the other day, and...
Dude, it's fucking bad.
Like, it's pretty ghetto. It's, like, pretty fucking bad.
You remember when I left work because the guy got murdered? Yeah, he got murdered at the club I was working at. It's a cartel thing. He was he's dead. I don't care about doxing him. He was definitely somewhere in the cartel. I don't know. I say the cartel. There's a lot of cartels. I don't know which one, but he was somewhere in one of them, high enough up that he had access to a lot of cocaine, and he was selling it, and nobody fucked with him ever. Ever. Like he used to pay me sometimes to bodyguard his wife. Like, while he'd go sell cocaine in the bathroom, so I would watch his wife and keep an eye on her.
What a life,
so,
bro! What a crazy existence.
Yeah, I mean, I never had any trouble. It was just basically like sit there, like, hey, do you want napkins or
his
do you want some
existence,
water?
though,
Oh yeah, no, his was fucking nuts, dude. I thought he was Mexican. He turns out he was Indian. He was Indian with a degree in logistics and business management.
Bro, he's
a shipping.
Dude. He's like tricking Mexican people.
No, they all knew he was. They all knew, but I didn't, because he'd wear the Mexican cowboy shit.
Yeah.
You know, and he spoke really good Spanish. I never
It's
knew.
very interesting.
Yeah. So
so that's what all those linguistics majors did.
Shit.
Yeah, they went.
They all joined the cartel.
They fucking ship cocaine, man. Yeah.
I mean, I think about that sometimes. Like, man, it's kind of like a video game. It's like, if this was a video game, if life isn't as serious as you think it is, and you just find out later, like, oh, you're just playing a game. It's like GTA. You're like, oh man, next time I'm gonna be in the cartel.
Yeah, I don't know.
I think about it sometimes, because it's like, what a crazy thought process you have to want to get into a line of work where eventually you have to start paying people so you can go to the bathroom just so your wife is safe. Like, you're paying a guy with a gun to stand there next to your wife so you can go sell drugs in the bathroom 20 feet away. Like, that's a level of, like, that's a person who has a lot of motherfuckers looking for him that want to kill him.
They caught up to him. They shot him. Like,
they're lucky he's lucky he just got shot, honestly. Like, I've watched some of these cartel videos. I mean, no one's lucky to die, you know what I mean? But, you know, like, some of the shit I've seen on, like, people getting skinned alive, people's, like, head in a tire and they light the tire on fire.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They're just some fucked up shit. I don't. There's a lot wrapped up in people going into the cartels and how all that works. Like, some of it's just business. Some of it's, about the money. Some of it's about the drugs. Some of it's about the
women.
rock star
Yeah.
kind of gangster hype. But they have some. I say they. I don't know enough about any one much, to distinguish. But there's aspects of some of it where they actually invented their own saints for it.
Oh, I saw that
Yeah.
kind of idea in Breaking Bad.
Yeah,
Where they're
yeah.
talking
No,
about
it's
it,
actually a lot like this Santa Muerte, which
Yeah.
they invented that, and they will offer fucking
Saint of death,
sacrifices.
right?
Yeah, yeah. And there's another one too. I forgot the name, but they offer like literal sacrifice. They worship it like a pagan kind of thing, almost, and like
Kind of rad a little bit.
it's different from what we
Yeah.
think of it as, right? Because
Uh-huh.
we think of like Crips and Bloods,
Yeah.
and there's an element of that too. But like, there's so much more wrapped up in it. It's like it's hard to unpackage all that. But yeah.
Yeah, dude, that's
So it was in the news anyway. If anybody's curious, that guy got capped. It doesn't show his picture, but he I saw the footage of it leading up to what actually happened because I worked there. I was able to go back and see that.
what
The
happened.
guy he was with, they were hanging out. I guess they'd been arguing a little bit. They say they're arguing over a girl, but I know that was bullshit. Like I just
Probably drugs.
I was definitely
Or
drugs.
money.
I just knowing, as I knew both of them and I knew the
Yeah.
whole thing, it wasn't over a girl. I won't go into it more, but they end up going off to the bathroom to do drugs. It was an empty fucking nightclub too, but there was one guy just hanging out, not anywhere near them, and he just watching. As soon as they went to the bathroom, he got up and fucking followed them, and he's the one that actually had a fucking gun. And they never they did not catch him.
He killed both of those dudes?
No. The dude that took him to the bathroom was distracting him, and the other guy shot him in the back of the head. Or maybe the side of the head. I don't know if it's back or the side, but what the police said is he didn't see it coming.
Wow.
He never saw it coming. So
And I didn't see you coming. You hit the back of my car.
I didn't see you
Thank
not
you, everybody,
going.
for tuning into the Ghost Show. I think that's a good spot to end it.
Yeah.
Bring it full circle. Thank you so much for talking to me, Gabe. This has been fucking incredible. I think all this club talk has been making me want to go out. If you guys want to go out and get some picnic, or if you don't want to go out, that's fine.
I can go for a little bit, but I have work again tomorrow. So
yeah, it sounds like you've worked like every fucking half an hour. It's like I go
I'm fucking broke.
Yeah, I feel that. But cool. Thank you guys for tuning in. I hope you enjoyed it. That's been the Ghost Show with Gabe, Zephyr, and me, Lil Ghost. Peace out.
Peace.